Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
This is my boomstick.
Here's Johnny.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Righteous! Righteous! Yeah!
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Houston, we have a problem.
The first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Those Film Nerds podcast. This week, we got a bit of an unorthodox episode, but as always, this part's not unorthodox. I'm joined by Sam Dierberger. Sam, how's it hanging? What's going on?
It's hanging well. How are you?
Doing good. Doing well. You know, we're finally out of the crap of 2020. You know, so I mean, that year's in the past. Hopefully, we can start to get back to normal. I'm not going to say it's going to be back to normal quite yet, but we're getting there.
Yeah. People had this weird paganistic, I would almost call it, attitude about 2020. Like, oh, it's just a year. It's just a year.
Yeah.
Like, once we hit midnight, everything will just be fine.
Oh,
like,
you get wiped away.
It'll just end. Yeah. And we'll move on. But, you know, we're still suffering some after effects from it.
Right.
Which is fine. But, you know, we had a heck of a year. We started a podcast.
Yeah, you know, not the worst year. And thank you to all of our listeners.
Of course. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for dealing with our long, witty banter that is apparently dead air. We got criticism on that this week.
We did. Although I will say I find it immaculately entertaining.
I do too.
Right.
And we just said to that person, we said, well, okay, first of all, I think you're jealous.
Right.
And,
that was the first thing we said.
You know, talk to our complaints department.
Right.
You know, they'll take care of you.
We have a whole file for it.
Also, we're like Terry. We're like Terry from Soul. You know, we just file right through. But yes, thank you to everyone who listens, either occasionally or routinely. You know, both are appreciated.
Right.
But as we've said before, we would be doing this anyway, even if no one was listening, because, you know, we figured we should just record it anyway.
Right. Put it out there. Well, Sam, I mentioned that this might be a bit of an unorthodox episode, and why would that be the case?
Well, this week we are talking about 2020 wrapped up in film. I don't know how to summarize it, but we're just talking about the best releases that we saw this year.
Correct. So we're not going to be going over any industry news. We're not going to hit recommendations as we're going over some of our favorite movies of 2020. So if you haven't seen any of them, then go check those out. That'd be the recommendations of the week. So yeah, what we're going to do, if anyone remembers the 2019 episode, we're just going to, which by the way, 2019, great year for movies. I know we said that in the episode. 2019, great year. 2020, we'll talk about it. But so
is it a good year?
We'll see. So what we're gonna do, Sam, be thinking of I kind of a little bit sprung this on you. We're gonna be doing winners, or a winner of 2020. You know, it could be a person or a studio or a specific movie. Doesn't matter. We're doing a winner. We're doing a loser.
Yep.
We're doing a newcomer. We're doing kind of our bottom, like some bottom crummy movies we saw. We hopefully won't talk about those too much. Oh boy. And then we're going to be hitting our favorites of the year. So Sam, anything to add on top of that?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is going to be, in case you haven't figured it out yet, this is going to be a pretty freewheeling episode.
Right.
We're not, I don't think we're going to be delving too much into spoilers or anything like that. You know, this is really, if I guess if we had a new listener come in and wanted to know which episodes to listen to retroactively, all the episodes we've done the last year, this probably would be a place to start. We'll be revealing our favorite movies of the year, and then you can go back and look.
And we've done episodes on the majority of the movies we'll mention today, I should also add.
Yes.
If you're really curious, go back into the archives. But
Yes.
Sam, before we get into specifics, winners, losers, top tens, bottoms, I want to get your thoughts on 2020 and film as a whole. Like, what was 2020 good? We're just gonna get a quick review out of you, Sam.
I gotta say, this might be this is a little controversial, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I think 2020 was a pretty good year for movies. I really do.
Elaborate on that.
I really do. Just based on, like we said before, we're gonna be going over like our top 10 movies of this year. I'm looking at my top 5 right now, William, and I think all 5 of them I would consider great films. I would consider them to be great. Like movies I would watch in 10, 15 years and say, you know what, that holds up. Others, not so much. We had some disappointments this year, to be sure, which we'll go over.
We did.
But, I mean, there were just as many, I would say, that, we watched and we talked it over on the show, and I think both of us kind of said, you know what, I was pleasantly surprised by that. I wasn't expecting anything out of it.
Right.
Most of these movies, I think, that we reviewed, I hadn't really heard about until a good probably month beforehand, and wasn't expecting anything out of them at all, and was happy.
Sure.
So, what are your initial thoughts about the year, Will?
Yeah, I kind of want to say what you said. There's a lot of good movies this year. I think the issue with it is we didn't get a lot of volume. We had bright spots, but there's a lot of dark spots too. A lot of dead stuff. We have. You said top 5. I'll even say maybe 8 movies in this year are going to be kind of like really like that. Could watch it, like you said, in 20 years. But the problem is there's only 8. In 2019, we had 15 that you could go back and look at and be like, yeah, that was a good one. I'll be excited to watch that again. I think in 2021, or maybe I'm shooting a little early here, but I would say that 2021 is going to be a good year if we have a lot of the movies that were supposed to come out this year that will be next year, or now this year, I suppose. Supposed to come out in 2021 will not be 2020. Supposed to be 2020, excuse me, now 2021, and the previous 2021 movies. I think it should be a good year. But yeah, I like what you said. There are a lot of bright spots, and there are some good movies that came out this year. So yeah, I would just say that this would have been a fantastic year. Because of COVID, it turned out to be a fairly good year, I would say.
Right. Yeah. And the other piece we're kind of not accounting for is, I guess, the magic of a movie theater.
Right.
I saw maybe 2 or 3 movies this year in a theater, new releases. So I think there is a tendency that I have, and most people have, to I guess overrate a movie slightly, just because you saw it in a theater and it looks better and it sounds better and it's a cool experience.
It's an experience. Exactly.
So it's like, how many of these would have been even better if we had seen them in a theater?
Oh gosh. Yeah.
And I guess, there's one specifically that I saw in a theater that was obviously made for a theater, and we'll talk about that later. But the rest of them, they could benefit from a theater release.
I know which movie you're talking about, and I think the intended viewing experience that said director, we'll talk about it later, said director wanted you to view that was on your watch, was on your Apple Watch. He wanted you just to look at that 1-inch screen and soak it all in.
With one AirPod in And
Yep, one AirPod. Doesn't matter which one, right or left. You can choose.
that's why the sound mixing was so good.
Yeah. You want to hear we'll get into that later though. But yeah, so despite COVID, I watch a lot of movies. I watched and I should also preface, we still have a lot of 2020 movies that Sam and I just have not seen yet due to limited release / we live in Minnesota, which theaters don't exist here. So
Yes.
so we should say a couple. Sam, go through some movies that we're still excited to see yet of 2020 that could enter our top 10s. And most likely
Will, I mean, the one that I'm really excited for personally is Promising Young Woman. Pretty much solely because of Carey Mulligan. I think she's extremely underrated. So yeah, this movie, Promising Young Woman, for some reason, I mean, I kind of respect this move really, but for some reason is just not getting a digital release, period. I mean, not even like you pay $4 to rent it or whatever. It's not streaming service.
Right. Yeah, they just said straight to the theaters.
Yep, the other ones include News of the World, which, let's see, it's the new Tom Hanks movie, and that's pretty much only in theaters as well.
Yeah, I think I've seen ads for it on TV, and it says only in theaters. Yeah, they're not going streaming or renting at all,
which is strange. I mean, that is a strange move.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Also, well, when is No Time to Die now?
That's April, I think. April 2021. Maybe it's May.
Yeah, April 2nd. It looks like
April 2nd.
So a full year after it was originally slated,
right?
Which is insane.
But we also
and then
you keep going.
Yeah, the final one is Nomadland with Frances McDormand,
right?
Which right now seems to be, just reading on the what the critics are saying. I mean, it's a strong favorite to win Best Picture, or certainly top 3 to be nominated for Best Picture.
Right, I would say top favorite for sure. Yeah, another one, the A24 movie Minari. I'm excited for that too.
Yeah,
that should be good. But so with that prereq in mind, just that we haven't seen a lot of the 2020 movies that we're really excited for quite yet. A lot of those will be featured on our list later, and we'll mention that as we do those episodes, because we'll do episodes on all 4 of those. Where they would fall. But anyway, so I ended up seeing 76 movies from 2020 this year.
What?
More than I saw last year. But again, many of them are very bad. And even more of them I did not see in a theater. So like you said, maybe it'll be a little bit different. But Sam, should we get into our winners, losers, and newcomer?
Yeah, let's talk some winners and losers here.
Do you want to start us off, or should I go first?
Well, yeah, you can go first. Who should we start with? Newcomer? We should save winner for last, I think.
Okay. Yeah, sure. We can do newcomer.
Dramatic.
Do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. There's some decisions to make here.
Right.
It's tough. It really is. Because I wouldn't consider this person to be a newcomer at all. But in terms of being so present in popular culture and cinema, really more specifically, over the last year, just seeing an absolute resurgence. I'm going to give this to Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh, cool.
He's certainly not a newcomer, but
Like that
I mean, the man took a 4-year hiatus, and it's not like he's a Leonardo DiCaprio and he can just take a 4-year hiatus and people just assume it's for artistic reasons. You know, he just said, Joseph Gordon-Levitt just said, you know, I had kids at home and I wanted to be around for them.
Right.
And then all of a sudden this year, he just comes out of nowhere with like not one, not two, but 3 pretty major film roles, with a lead role in The Trial of the Chicago 7 and 7500, and I guess I would say kind of a lead role in Project Power.
Right.
So, I mean, man, busy year for Joseph Gordon-Levitt all of a sudden. So, yeah, he's my newcomer of the year.
Cool. You know, that's a good pick. I had not even thought of that, and that is a good pick. My newcomer of the year is going to come to a shock to many, but it's Hubie from Hubie Halloween, because, you know, we're getting that Hubie Halloween cinematic universe, of course. Hubie Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We're both excited for that one.
Yep.
The list is endless. No, I'm kidding. My newcomer of the year, Sam, we did an episode on it's a director. We did an episode on his film debut earlier. It was one of our first episodes, actually. And it's The Vast of Nights director, Andrew Patterson.
Wow, okay.
Written, directed, and produced by him. And I enjoyed that movie quite a bit. And, you know, it won't make an appearance in my top 10, but as I look back on it, I think about that movie, and I think that was really well made for a directorial debut. So I'm going to go him as my new.
Yeah, that's actually an excellent pick, because we you know, we did a whole episode on The Vast of Night, and I mean, the entire time we're like, you know, it's a little rushed. There could be a lot more that could be done, but we're seeing like a lot of promising things.
Yes.
Like, we could tell that he knew what he was doing. It was just like that movie was shot on like a shoestring budget, like no money. And you know, it's obvious that if he's been a little more of a sanction to experiment and really get creative.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, I think back to that movie and like have it like being able to pull off an opening tracking shot as your directorial debut is the ultimate flex. Like, that's just impressive if you're able to do that. And, you know, looking like putting the camera on actors for like 3 straight minutes and just letting them act without any cuts is impressive. Really
insanely ambitious.
Yeah, really liked The Vast of Night, and I was, you know, it's not without its flaws, but a lot of promise there by Andrew Patterson. So yeah, he's my newcomer of the year. Now, Sam, should we get into the weeds in loser of the year, shall we?
All right, so then we can talk. Let's talk losers then.
Yeah, go for it. Let's hear it.
Loser of this year. Dare I? Well, no, I'm not going to say him. I'm not going to say him.
All right.
I want to say him, but I don't think so. Generally, okay, here's something general. The traditional American blockbuster has just been absolutely.
All right, sorry. With technical difficulties aside, Sam, you were talking about traditional blockbuster. Continue with that thought.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think that the traditional American blockbuster kind of got decimated this year with the release of, you know, the underperformance of Tenet at the box office in July and August. in September, early release in July, I guess. And then Wonder Woman 1984 kept getting pushed back. Obviously, we talked about No Time to Die getting pushed back a whole year, which is insane. So, like, yeah, and I mean, I guess you could say it's no fault of their own, but I would argue that there's, just a tiny ounce of like their failure to really diversify,
Right.
and to be able to say, maybe push, or I guess shrink the time that a movie traditionally stays in the theater a little bit. But we saw with that HBO deal a few weeks ago that we're going to start seeing a lot more movies get on streaming services a lot sooner, which, is good and bad. But yeah, that big blockbusters would be my loser of the year.
Yeah, that's a good one, actually. And we even saw that last week with Wonder Woman 1984 when it got released on the HBO deal.
Yeah.
It was just panned, and it almost makes me wonder if it was, reacted to so poorly because people want to see that kind of movie, the blockbuster, in a big theater. And when they didn't get that, they subconsciously were upset about it. I don't know, something to think about. But yeah, that's a really good loser. And I was gonna choose this as my loser, but it almost seems too. You know what? I'll do it. It's kind of similar to yours, but I guess my loser, to no fault of its own, really is the theaters. The theaters are the loser this year.
Oh, those poor things.
Nothing went their way. I mean, obviously, we've talked about this at nauseum and at length before, but
yeah.
Oh, theaters just got, they got screwed over this year. And I hope they take a rebound. We'll have to see, though, if they do, with the whole HBO thing and Netflix. Honestly, Netflix might have been a winner this year. I mean, they killed, and, the theaters are my loser, though, just because no one went to them. I mean, they couldn't, but no one did go to them. So that would be my loser, are the theaters, and specifically AMC.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, yeah, it's so difficult because there's no one in. I mean, they can claim it, but really, there's no one in the theater industry that's really shaking up the industry and saying, like, we're doing something revolutionary here. It's going to be, if you're in the theater industry, you're in a dying industry.
Right.
You just got to figure out how to, at the very least, carve out some sort of niche for you long term. And that's hard to do. There's no way around that.
Agreed.
So, yeah, I would agree with you. Unfortunately, the theaters were the losers this year. But, there were so many other, 2020 takes no prisoners. And there were so many other industries that were affected by COVID that might be permanently dead as a result of it. So, yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult. But yeah,
Absolutely.
That's a good loser of this year.
Let's get into winners, Sam. Who's your winner?
My winner, you nailed it. You got right ahead of it. I would say Netflix is the winner of this year. First of all, we're about to rag on all the crappy movies we saw on Netflix this year, but also they also provided us with a steady stream of just like something to talk about for the podcast, because we started a podcast at the worst possible time. Oh, well, we started a podcast about movies at the worst possible time. And Netflix was like our one lifeline that constantly provided us with, I mean, most of them were bad movies, but at least there was something to talk about, and there were some competent high-level actors, competent directors at the helm. And then they gave us, 2 or 3 really, really good movies this year. And they proved that they were able to hold their own against the Titans of Hollywood, I suppose.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I just counted it up actually because I was curious. We did in total 13 episodes that were out on Netflix here. Uh, so there you go. And we'll be doing more too. I mean, we didn't even say this in our opening, but Pieces of a Woman comes out this week. We'll be doing that probably next week, which should be interesting. There's another Netflix, and we'll continue that trend, I would imagine. So I mean, that's a good winner. I guess if I were to choose a winner, it would be that, but I'll mix it up. I'm gonna say my winner is. I'm gonna go Pixar as my winner. I mean, they had two movies.
Okay.
They had two movies this year. One was released in theater. It got cut short, its theater run. With Onward. Onward was a very solid Pixar. It wasn't their A team at work. It was probably their. Well, I know it was their B team because the movie I'm about to mention was a lot better. But Onward, very good for just a fun family movie. And then we had one of the best movies of the year also just last week with Soul.
Yeah.
Which will obviously win Best Animated Feature, and probably will be nominated for Best Picture if I were to guess.
Wow. Okay.
And we'll see as we round this Oscar corner. But yeah, Pixar proved they still have their fastball. We kind of were thinking for a while maybe they were letting off. We had Toy Story 4, which I loved, but is another sequel. We had Incredibles 2, obviously another sequel, which some people were let down by. And, so it was nice to get two original Pixar movies this year. One was good and the other was fantastic. So yeah, my winner will be Pixar.
Excellent. That's a good pick. I forgot that Onward even came out this year.
Yeah, it feels like forever ago. Right?
It feels like years ago, literally. But that was early 2020. Huh.
Should we get into some of our worst movies, Sam, or do you have anything else to say about winners, losers, newcomers?
Yeah, you know what? Let's just talk about these crappy films that we went over this year. Do you want to start? You want to spitball a few?
Yeah, I have a feeling we're gonna have some of the similar ones. So yeah, I'll start. I'll just say some that I just thought were awful. Oh man, there's a lot of junk this year. Bloodshot was my least favorite movie of the year. It's a Vin Diesel superhero movie. It was dreadful. We had I'm gonna save those two for you. You can talk about those ones all you want. We had a movie called Coffee and Kareem. Sam, you'll be happy to hear it. It stars Ed Helms. So how it's not my favorite of the year, I will never know because man, that just sounds cynical. We had Capone, the Tom Hardy Al Capone biopic. Oh man, that was terrible.
My God, that was this year. That's so crazy.
Remember that? That was the thing.
Forgot that.
We had Doolittle, Robert Downey Jr.'s return after Endgame. Oh boy, probably should just let that die. There's a lot of garbage this year. Artemis Fowl, another bad one. Man, a lot of junk at my bottom. I don't even want to mention some of these just because I don't want to have to relive them. But if you're curious, I guess go check out my 2020 list at Letterboxd. Will Spalding. Sam, let's hear some of your least favorites of the year.
Oh my God!
Sam, I see you don't even have Hubie Halloween on your.
Yeah, I'm literally just realizing that now.
You can you'll slide that at number one, right?
Right. It's it's not gonna be. I know I don't have to put it on there. I don't have to worry about it because it's going to be my number one.
Right. That's a good point.
That's fair. No matter what I see, it's gonna be the best movie of the year.
Right. Yeah. That's a good point, really.
hell, if it wasn't released in 2020, I would say it's a strong contender for best movie of the century. But you know,
It's up there. It's definitely
up there.
So, what are some of
but-
your least favorites, Sam?
My least favorites include Project Power. I thought was just, there's a soft spot for it because that was the first movie I ever watched at college. So that's something. I'm never going to forget that. But yeah, that was really bad. I don't think we even knew what was going on with that plot. It was just a mess.
Yeah.
The Old Guard was, I see it here. I have it at a 1 star. I don't remember it being that bad, but The Old Guard was pretty awful from what I recall. You liked it a lot more than I did.
I did enjoy it enough. Not gonna say it was great.
It was just because Charlize was in there.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, so yeah, and then of course, my least favorite of the year, Eurovision. I thought was really, really bad.
Oof, that
really
one was
unimpressive.
That was one of our first episodes. If not, I wouldn't say one of the first, but it was up there.
I think it was. Well, I think it was the first where we watched something that was truly awful. I mean,
yeah.
Man, I think I generally enjoy Will Ferrell's comedy more than you do. I remember this was probably about like a year and a half to 2 years ago. We were talking about a movie called The House with Will Ferrell and Amy Poehler. And I watched it and impulsively gave it 3 stars. And you just yelled at me about it. You were like, "What are you thinking? How could you do this?" And I was like, you're right. But man, Eurovision, oh.
Sam, please call it by its designated title, Eurovision Song Contest, the story of Fire Saga. Oh, it should only be referred to as that. Oh man, that was rough. Wow.
Oh.
Who thought that was a good idea?
And it wasn't like Hubie Halloween, where with Hubie Halloween, it was so obvious that Adam Sandler was trying to just he wanted to just absolutely make us hate it. With Eurovision, it's like, I think they're just trying, but they just have no talent.
They were going for it, yeah.
They were trying so hard. They had Will Ferrell singing. They cast Rachel McAdams to be his love interest. They were trying.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That one was rough.
I think that those are the bottom of the barrel for us.
Yeah. Whew. Let's move past that. I do want to get one more that interests me. Most disappointing of the year, and then we'll get into our top. I'll start off. I did literally just come up with this in my mind, so I'll start off. I'm gonna go most disappointing for me was my most anticipated movie of the year. Tenet is my most disappointing.
Wow.
Like I said, it was my most anticipated of the year. And I didn't like it. So that means it's most disappointing of the year. Yeah, just, Nolan swings for grand slams, and I guess he just missed this time, for me at least.
Wow.
So Tenet's my most disappointed. Not going to say it's an awful movie. It wasn't in my bottom, like I just said, but I was disappointed. Sam, what do you... You have a most disappointed, or
it's close for me. I might mention too. I'm gonna say both Hillbilly Elegy and The Devil All the Time. I think that with Hillbilly Elegy, I was anticipating it a lot more. I had known about the project for a good amount of time,
right,
beforehand, and because Amy Adams and Glenn Close. Major star power there. And I just thought it was I thought it was a pretty run of the mill, just kind of family drama. Pretty paint by numbers. Wasn't, it was pretty much everything I expected and not much more. So I didn't really walk away from that one satisfied. And also The Devil All the Time. I didn't really know much about this project beforehand. I wasn't really anticipating it. But, when I read the premise and I saw, the star power attached to it, Tom Holland, Bill Skarsgård, and especially Robert Pattinson, I was very excited. And it was just, not really that great of a film at all.
Yeah. No, it wasn't great.
Also, interestingly, Haley Bennett appears in both of those. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah,
yeah,
she does.
She's a strong contender for newcomer of the year. She
would,
two had a busy year.
Two not very good movies, but she was pretty good. She was passable in both of them. Yeah, I'll agree with you.
Yeah. So those are my two, I would say.
All right, good. Should we get into our top movies of the year, Sam?
Yeah, let's do it.
What did you say you wanted to do 10? Where do we want to go from this?
Yeah, we'll do. How about we do 10? We'll do the bottom 5 just quickly.
Yeah,
just go back and forth, and we'll spend some time on the top 5.
Cool.
So
I will let you go first.
Okay. I'll take a step in the water here. I'm gonna say number 10. I'm gonna give that to 7,500.
Good.
I think that's a solid movie. 7,500. Really enjoyed it. Actually, just very effective movie. Number 9. I'm gonna give to Tenet. Not because was Tenet disappointing? Yes, absolutely. Is it a bad movie? No. Is it a pretty good movie? Yes. Is it everything I wanted? No. But it's still Nolan. It's still a lot of fun to watch, and it's still what you want out of Christopher Nolan. Twisted my brain. So I enjoyed Tenet. I still don't understand it, but I enjoyed it. Number 8, I'm gonna give to Palm Springs.
Cool.
That was a surprise hit of the year.
It was.
If we had a category for surprise of the year, I would say Palm Springs. Really, didn't really see that coming. Fresh twist on kind of an old trope now. But yeah, number 7. I think you might have enjoyed this a lot more than I did. But Trial of Chicago 7, I think it's a fairly conventional courtroom drama, but it's just done so well that it's a really, really effective kind of historical biopic drama. And really enjoyed that one. Netflix did a great job with that. Excellent writing by Sorkin and direction, actually, we found out. And number 6, I'm going to give to Soul. Obviously, the best animated feature of the year. And as we discussed last week, probably one of the more philosophical and deep Pixar films ever made. So, yeah, Soul. Fantastic.
Good, nice. I'll go through my 10 through 6 here real quick. And I should say, this is what I kind of meant by volume. Of these top 10, if every movie I saw this year got inserted into 2020, like 1 or 2 of these might have ended up on my top 10. So, some of these are just not as strong in a normal year is kind of what I meant by volume.
Yeah.
So my number 10 is just a really small movie called Arkansas, about drug runners in Arkansas, believe it or not. But it's got a very good cast with John Malkovich, Vince Vaughn, Liam Hemsworth. So super good, and it throws a couple of nice twists in there with an unreliable narrator and the multiple timelines going on. So that was really a really big surprise for me. That might have been my surprise of the year, I suppose. It was Arkansas. 9, I know I enjoy this more than you did. But again, Is it the greatest movie ever made? No. It's Sound of Metal. I thought Riz Ahmed was very good. And I'm always interested by something that wouldn't really normally work in a movie, which I thought was executed pretty well. With the no sound aspect of it. So Sound of Metal is my number 9. Really enjoyed that. Number 8, I know is gonna be in your top 5. It's Mank. Mank is just about as good as you get technical wise. This is a strong movie by Fincher and everyone involved. Really like this. I am excited to go back and watch this too. The only thing I would say why it's out of my top 5 is it's not approachable whatsoever to anyone other than you and me, really. So
yeah.
Continuing on, what is this? My number 7 at this point? Yeah, 7. 7 I know is going to be near the top for you. I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Charlie Kaufman.
Yes.
What can be said about this movie, but it's just really strong all the way around. Lots of really fun performances in there. And Kaufman shows us he still got it. So I won't spend too much time talking about this because I know you'll have your thoughts. Number 6, and then we'll go into year 5 and we'll go back and forth from there. Number 6 is On the Rocks. Actually, this might be my surprise of the year. Sofia Coppola returning after so long. And Bill Murray. I mean, he's such a treat. And love Rashida Jones too. So On the Rocks is my number 6. This is the movies that you and I like, these small scale, really clever, fun movies. So there you go. There's my 10 through 6. Arkansas, Sound of Metal, Mank, I'm Thinking of Ending Things, On the Rocks. Sam, what is your number 5?
Well, you had literally the perfect segue because my number 5 is On the Rocks.
Boom. Look at that. That's why we get paid so much money.
Just beautiful. Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, it's probably, with your list, you probably have to adjust it for inflation, I would say, because you've seen about 3 times as many movies as I have this year. But yeah, that's probably why I put it at 5. But yeah, On the Rocks, just a master class in I would say slice of life dialogue, just really realistic dialogue, very much in the vein of, it reminded me a lot of Marriage Story from last year.
Good. Nice.
Although a lot more humorous in tone, and like you said, Bill Murray, absolute treat. Rashida Jones is great. And there's not much more I can say about it. It's just a short little beautiful movie, On the Rock. So what is your number 5 then, Will?
Yeah, and I should say we did do an episode on the Rock, so go check that out.
Of course.
My number 5 is the movie we did last week. It's Soul. I mean, you touched on it. It's the best animated movie of the year. It's one of the best movies of the year, period. And Soul is much more intellectually challenging than it has every right to be, and it should be. To the extent that it's not even really a kids movie. It's really a movie made for adults. And not to say that a child couldn't watch this, because there's still lots of fun moments for a kid as well. But yeah, Soul was awesome. And I expected it to be good, but I was still surprised by it. And yeah, that's one of the ones I would have liked to have seen in a theater.
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah, let's move on. Yeah, Soul's great. Let's move on to your number 4, unless you have any thoughts you want to expand on.
No. Well, here's my one question about Soul. Do you think it's just too much for a kid?
Yeah, probably. The only thing I would say is a really little kid would be fine, because everything would go over their heads.
Yeah.
If you had like a 9-year-old, probably not, because they'd be grasping some of it, but you wouldn't know what to do with any of it, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. I was just thinking about that because I don't think either of us really have like that I know of, a young kid in my life. I haven't asked any young child like, have you seen Soul yet? What did you think of it? Like,
Well, I have 4 illegitimate children, so I'll get to them and I'll get back to you.
yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. Have the moms take them out. So number 4. Number 4, I'm gonna say Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Nice. Cool.
You know, again, a short little quick hit of a movie, but it's just packed with this just fantastic dialogue, just funny and witty, and also just dramatic. It's based off of a play, so it's really compact and tight, and it's just so well done. Chadwick Boseman, his performance is not just hype; it's fantastic. And the supporting cast does well, and the music is great. So I don't know what else you want. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, number 4.
Cool. Yeah, my number 4, you touched on it already. We have a lot of duplicates. It's Palm Springs. My favorite comedy of the year. Potentially. Maybe we'll get to that. Palm Springs, super awesome. I think Sandberg is absolutely hilarious in this, and he's at the top of his game. Kristen Milioti is very good at it as well. You love their relationship. And yeah, it's interesting. You said it's kind of a new take on an old trope, and all of this kind of repeat day. We watch them the first time, and you think we go through it and like realize the terror that they're living in because they're horrified of it. But in Palm Springs, we just jump right into where Sandberg is like 10,000 days in. So we kind of live it in a completely different lens, which I just thought was brilliant. So Palm Springs, super funny, is my number 4. And Sam, your number 3 is?
My number 3 is Mank, as you already touched on. I feel like we've been using that phrase a lot, but yeah, Mank I was floored by Mank. I think that Fincher really got it right with this one. It was kind of everything I wanted it to be. Gary Oldman gave one of the best performances of his life. And this one was probably my most highly anticipated, even more than Tenet. I'd been hearing about Mank for years beforehand. And the cinematography was great. It looked great. I love the aesthetic. And I love that Netflix is going into projects like these.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
Just interesting stuff. So, yeah, Mank is my number 3.
Yeah, there we go. Nice. Mank's incredible. My number 3, I'm going to steal your number 4, and I'm going to put it right at my number 3, is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Chadwick is a one-man wrecking crew in this movie. He's absolutely incredible. Deserves every award he's going to get for it. And I think the nature of it being a play really allowed this movie to thrive. Kind of threw me for a loop for a second, but I think that's what made this movie great, is that it's one setting. It's basically, the movie's 97 minutes. It's basically covers like 2 hours of time tops. So really loved Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. And I'm like, we mentioned this a little bit, but I'm excited to see what other movies Denzel will be producing like this.
Yeah.
And like
we talked about it extensively.
Yeah. Like you said, the music is great. And that song, Ma Rainey, is fantastic. So there we go. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom at my number 3. What's your number 2, Sam?
My number 2, we're going to take a turn into left field here. Blow the Man Down. This is an Amazon original. I watched this before the pandemic was a thing. I loved it. I thought it was phenomenal. It's kind of in the vein of, I don't even know if I mentioned this on the show before, but it's kind of in the vein of like a Coen Brothers movie, but without a lot of like the dark comedy. It's just a really well done kind of murder mystery almost, with some fascinating ethical questions, I guess, in this small town in Maine. Really effective, really great use of visuals and setting. So yeah, I was floored by this movie, Below the Man Down.
I haven't seen it, but Maine is just such a cool setting too.
It is. It's phenomenal.
Right.
And the acting is fantastic.
Cool. I still have to check that out. Haven't gotten around to it yet. But my number 2, kind of also in left field. I maybe a bit of recency bias, sure, but I just saw this today. I was waiting for it. I was waiting to get my teeth into it, and I knew I needed to see it before this episode because I knew it would be up here. It's Thomas Vinterberg's Another Round with Mads Mikkelsen.
Wow.
In the lead. It's a Dutch film. So it's not in English, but man, one of the funnier movies and high concept, great execution movies of the year. And it's sub 2 hours, but I could have had it been 4 and I would have still loved this.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm just going to give you the slight premise. It's a one sentence, and you tell me if this does not sound absolutely awesome. 4 high school teachers launch a drinking experiment, upholding a constant low level of intoxication.
What?
Wow. Rockers, absolutely hilarious, but then takes a lot of twists and turns that allow it to really succeed. So that's Another Round. In Dutch, I believe it's pronounced Drook. So there you go. Another Round.
Okay, fantastic. Good pick.
I'm
gonna have to watch that.
Yeah, give me 1 second to see where it's at. It's I just have to rent it. I already had it, so there you go. Another Round.
Perfect. All right, I'm gonna find that. I'm gonna definitely give that a watch as soon as possible. So then, that leaves us with our number 1. So my number 1, Will, is I'm Thinking of Ending Things.
Good.
Charlie Kaufman. This movie really grew on me. At first, I was like, Kaufman went overboard. It's just too weird. It's just too high concept. It's so surreal. And I thought about it more and more, and I'm just like, there's just too much genius here.
Yeah.
The movie is a masterclass in acting. I mean, Jessie Buckley. I mean, I hadn't heard of her before this year. I mean, I guess she could be a contender for Newcomer of the Year.
She was definitely
fantastic.
Yeah,
she was amazing. Jesse Plemons is. I mean, initially, I think I called him a discount Philip Seymour Hoffman. They kind of have the same kind of look and I guess manner, but yeah, he did great. Toni Collette gives a standout performance. And yeah, so I mean, yeah, I'm Thinking of Ending Things, I think, is the best movie of this year. Again, barring the few aforementioned ones at the top of the show that we still need to see. Pretty confident about this one.
Yeah, nice. There's a reason I'm Thinking of Ending Things is in my top 10 too. It's a great movie. But rounding us off, I was looking at my list and I'm thinking, for my number 1, which movie will I want to revisit most? Which did I enjoy watching the most? And for me personally, it's a safe pick, but for me, it's The Trial of the Chicago 7.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird to say that this would almost be a comfort movie, but it almost is. It's really feel good. It's the dramatic elements are pulled off so well by Sorkin's direction.
Yeah.
But Sorkin's writing is just so funny that there's tons of comedic elements. Obviously, the timing of Baron Cohen is phenomenal, and he'd be a winner of the year as well if we were really going to it.
I suppose so. Yeah.
I love so many performances in here. Jeremy Strong is incredible. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II probably will be nominated for supporting actor. You mentioned Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Mark Rylance is great, but the star of this is Sorkin. He proves he's a great writer. Obviously, we all knew that, but he can direct too. So that was good to see. So that's my number one, The Trial of the Chicago 7.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's a good pick. I mean, it's just such a solid movie.
Right. Yep.
Like you said, it's safe. It's just really well made. So yeah, I guess with that, those were, again, just barring a few more movies, which we will be going over in the next few weeks. Those were our favorites of the year.
Yeah. We're looking forward to 2021. We're going to have a lot of movies that are going to be coming out this year. We're going to get to as many as we can. We got some exciting upcoming content. We're going to be doing, once Oscar nominations come out, we'll do an episode on that about who we think will win and who we think should win. Those are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be doing an episode on the Oscars. We got a lot of stuff coming, and we're excited for 2021. But Sam, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I think altogether this has been, a fun year, and I guess technically it's still going on. Like you said, we're in full Oscar season, full Oscar mode now. So, it's gonna get exciting around here. Oscars are kind of our Christmas. I realize we didn't do a Christmas episode.
I thought of that. We'll get it.
Both of us just don't like Christmas movies that much.
Right. We will.
I can't name many off the top of my head that I really enjoy. So
if this podcast hasn't been banned by the government by the time next Christmas comes around,
yes.
We will. It's not been banned yet because I do a ton of editing off the show because we swear a ton.
Oh my God, the FCC is all over us.
Yeah, they really are. But with that being said, Sam, where can I find you on Letterboxd?
You can find me at sjdierberger at letterboxd.com. And where can I find you, Will?
You can find me at willspalding, and you can check out both of our lists on that website if you'd like to see the full lists. And you can also see us in the year 2021, where we'll be doing all sorts of movies every week as per usual. But again, Sam, with that being said,
keep watching movies, everyone.
Thanks for the great year. Ever thought about making a podcast? Well, Anchor is the easiest and simplest way to do so. Let me explain. For starters, it's free. There's also creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast